This is because what if we end up, throwing out some pearls here? Who knows? So anyway,
Maybe.
so I was like, "Ooh, I just got done watching Section 33. Unforgiven would yeah, okay, this is a part of the homework. I'll watch Unforgiven because maybe I don't remember it. I don't remember.
Yeah, you need to see it with adult. You need to see it with adult eyes.
There was no, and if actually it turned out I remembered it pretty well. It might have been one of those TBS movies that was always on in the 2000s.
Yeah, or you see,
you know what I mean?
Or you catch the last 30 minutes of it, but you don't really.
Yes, or the middle, or you're flipping channels and Gene Hackman's on. You're like, oh, Gene, because I feel like I've seen that. There's a famous Gene Hackman scene with Richard Harris.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've seen that like 30 times. Anyway, there's other stuff I didn't remember very well, but like most of the Gene Hackman stuff I did. Anyway, I watched it. It was nothing. It has nothing in common with Section 31, other than what they're trying to do is they're just trying to. Hey, we got weight now.
Okay, we should redo this. Let's do this again. Yeah.
Like you want me to go talk about dovetail into section? You want me to talk about Unforgiven some more?
Yeah. Let's add as much sophistication to the bones of Section 31.
All right, Wade. Real quick, we're just. Are you recording? Because James and I are.
I am. Yeah. This is something that deserves all the respect.
Well,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's very serious.
I think there's bigger I think there's obviously every failure elicits a lot of discussion. So
sure. Yeah. So I just to catch you up, last week we talked about two things. We talked about us watching Section 31 this week, which we did. We also talked about how the Oscars like to, because nominations were out last week. We also talked about how the Oscars like to use their nominations and winners as a chance to tell a story about themselves, or it's Hollywood's chance to tell their own Hollywood story every year. So there's like a scripting of a narrative, like a meta narrative that goes on. So in looking at the IMDb page for Section 31, one of the creators of Section 31 mentioned that Unforgiven was a model for their story. And so I use that as an opportunity.
You don't see me over here. I'm making a jack off motion with me.
I use that opportunity to rewatch Unforgiven, and I can report back it's got nothing to do with Section 31. And none of the plot points. There's no character analogs. There's nothing. There's nothing there. But what was interesting
is there a saloon?
Well, yeah, but it's
she owns a bar, right? They have a fire.
We will mind the details later. But let's get.
Just that's neither here nor there. That's just like that's There's also horses in it, but that doesn't mean I agree. One. So anyway, but it does. Unforgiven does have is a precedent for. It's actually this narrative is happening again because it won Best Director. And Clint Eastwood really cleaned up for Unforgiven.
That was his first. That was like, oh, Clint Eastwood's a serious director now, right? That's what the Oscar.
Yeah. I think he had done other movies. Yeah, he had done. He had
a directing.
But was that the first Oscar win he got, or did he already won?
His other Oscars came in the aughts, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the one like he's an Oscar. I mean, he had done other stuff. He had
been nominated for because he had directed other stuff and was fairly. I think he'd actually had one other directing nomination before this. I can't remember what, or maybe it was a producing credit.
I think he made a movie about Charlie Parker with the fatter black actor from the whatever. The actor.
He's a big jazz.
I'm trying to think of this actor's name. What the fuck is the actor's name? He's not Lawrence Fishburne. If Lawrence Fishburne says no, then you ask this guy. Right. He plays the rebel in Rogue One and Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, Ghost Dog.
Yes. Sorry. Thank you.
Anyway,
I had to do that for myself.
Ghost Dog. I know.
If we go back to 1992, Clint Eastwood is, he's in his 90s. He's almost 100 now, but in 1992, he was, for Hollywood, considered old, and he had been famous for like 40 years being a cowboy. The second most famous screen cowboy since John Wayne.
Right.
So this was his swan song. This was
his kiss off. Yeah, like you've led a good life. Mm-hmm. Like what The Departed was for Martin Scorsese.
So absolutely. That's another good one. And so basically the Academy Awards, it's another instance of like a meta narrative where they're like, this was Clint Eastwood's final, like what happens on screen needs to match what happens in like real life. This is what this is like our stamp on a career, because we want to have Hollywood innings or whatever. So I found that interesting because I watched it when you watch Unforgiven separate from the context of a 40-year-old screen career, it's just a movie that it's really well done. I don't know when the last time you guys watched it.
Right.
When's the last time?
It's been a while. I need to watch it again.
It's been over a decade at least.
But when you watch it, it's like this is really good. However, because it's also like interested in tearing down myths of the American West at the same time. At a time when I think it was probably due. And to have Clint Eastwood be the one to do it had a little bit more weight because you weren't having some like soft-hearted lib doing it. You're having Clint Eastwood.
Right.
Yeah. But it is of that era when the hippies got control of the Western genre. A Lonesome Dove and True Grit. And when these people that were more clear-eyed towards that myth, I was sort of that era of reappraising the like West.
It is. It has
McCabe and Mrs. Miller and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. The original story that it was based off of, and this is the original title of the movie before it got changed to Unforgiven. Her original title was The Cut Whore Murders, and
oh man,
which like that title kind of goes hard.
That does, man. That's I could see that on a marquee out on one of them dirt roads they have in the South.
Yeah, you totally could.
The Cut Whore movie,
but it doesn't exactly scream Oscar bait, though, does it?
No,
no, it's like 10,000 Maniacs or something. Yeah.
But Unforgiven, such a deep word. Yeah, it's such a rich word like that. Yes.
But anyway, back to Section 31. This movie was an hour and a half. It is a Paramount Plus Star Trek movie. It's called Star Trek Section 31, right?
I believe you're right. Yes.
Yep.
Which to me, Section 31, as I've said on numerous occasions, is in and of itself a horrible idea. Like I'm against the idea of a Section 31 within the Star Trek world to begin with. So to me, this is like having a TV movie called Star Trek Ethnoship. Like you're taking a bad idea and you're
it's about baseball, man.
You're making a whole movie out of a bad idea. So yeah, this was just loud and dumb. And
oh my god,
it's almost like almost beneath our notice. Like really,
it is. I don't even know like how to approach it. It was. I don't know. I mean,
it's
I think
UPN Hercules Xena bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I decided to. I think I texted y'all like, oh, if I go in watching it and it like a sci-fi channel original, that's what this is.
But I don't.
I texted you guys that before Red Letter Media said.
Well, it does. It has this stink of like. Just written for money. Like it has all of the tropes of like how dialogue goes. Obviously they were trying to, it was a show. Let's just say what it is. It was clearly a show. the story makes no sense as a movie. It's not a movie. Movies aren't just long TV shows. Like, they're different. They have to, like, a lot more richer themes have to be developed, or a TV show, a pilot, needs to set a lot of, like, interesting potentialities, you know, like pairings. And that was clearly what they were trying to do the whole show. It was all just about setting up relationships to do other stories with.
That's what's confusing about it, because I know more about the back end of it. Like, it was supposed to be a show,
and they
had two writers from Discovery that were the ones that were going to get to run it.
Mm-hmm.
And then before COVID even happened, really, it got taken away from them.
Mm-hmm.
They announced the show, they announced it, and then they kind of backburnered it and hoped nobody would say anything.
Because no one really liked Discovery.
Well, it was weird those first 2 seasons.
If I remember it correctly, it was that Discovery, which, like, season 1, season 2, like, is even largely now considered under the new Trek reappraisal some of the worst.
That's not true, though. That's the fucked up part of it. I agree with you.
I don't know. I don't watch
season 1, season 2. People that talk about Discoveries, most of them that are like, well, season 1 and 2, it started off okay, and then it got. It's weird to me because those first 2 seasons are just like incoherent, like too many cooks, like they don't know what the fuck they're doing and they can't settle on anything. But people are like, oh, it's better, and then it got even worse as it went on. It's like, well,
when we're talking about people, we got to be talking about like 12 people, right? Like these. What are these?
Yeah, I mean, TV reviewers, paid reviewers of like prestige TV. That
begs the question: we know that people watch. I know that people watch Yellowstone. Okay, I can't go into a gas station without seeing somebody wearing, a Yellowstone hat or T-shirt. Like this has got no. And I go into
it's the redneck Game of Thrones, man. All the way down to the really disappointed in the abrupt ending situation.
Oh yeah, Yellowstone. Yeah, I mean, it definitely does not have Yellowstone numbers.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. But like, I go into spaces like I go to anime cons, I go to comic cons, I go to the places where
you go to nerds. You're doing your nerd field research.
Yeah, people don't like it.
I don't see anything branded Discovery ever, like zero.
Yeah, nobody. I didn't say people loved it.
No, I'm not even saying people are watching it. Like, I don't even know what numbers they're doing.
I mean, who knows? They're not doing great numbers. It never did great numbers. I think it was doing worse at the end than it was at the beginning. But I know that the Brave New Worlds or Strange New Worlds show does a lot better on most metrics. People actually like that show, which is, and I grudgingly will admit after watching it, it's a pretty good show. But yeah, I mean, everybody hated Discovery. Nobody ever liked it. But when people reassess it, they say the earlier seasons are better.
Wow. Then it must have gotten really disastrous.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I went over every season, and I think it all sucked. But by season 4, the 4th season, it figured out what it wanted to be, and it was doing what it wanted to do. So I count it kind of almost a success in that. It just was not for me, and I did not care for it. But when I put on my critical hat, I was like, okay, that's not a bad season of trying to hit what they're aiming at, which is just like kind of a soap opera and stuff. And
well, back to Section 31.
They tried to do that. They tried to do that shit before, and it was a fucking horrible mess, even by those metrics. And then the last season was done.
I think that this is definitely it's like data-driven writing.
I think so. Yeah.
I got to think that I got
probably AI assisted writing too.
It felt like that because
I think it felt. I mean, it was Alex Kurtzman. It felt like an Alex Kurtzman produced movie, which it was. It hit all his notes.
Well, the shapeshifter said the shapeshifter had that line about something being on her brand, and then like 2 seconds later said that her corporate culture sucked or something like that. I'm like, who's talking like this in the 24th
I think,
century?
and that's where I think the edict was when it got reshaped, because I was like I want to get back to how this thing came about. They dropped it because there was no interest in it from the network or the populace. They dropped it for a reason.
Yeah,
they didn't drop it because it was going to be good. They.
Oh God, no. Yeah. No, and they brought it back because Michelle Yeoh won an Oscar. Really?
Yes, because she won an Oscar, and they had her under contract, and they threw money at her, which is money they're not going to make back.
Right. There may have been a small group of people clamoring for a show with that over what Discovery was doing.
I think the cameo at the end kind of like it kind of reinforces the thing.
The Jamie Lee Curtis cameo.
Yeah,
yeah. From that movie that we won an Oscar for. Remember, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because now you've got 2 Oscar winners in this turd.
I hate that this has been so well made fun of before we're recording this, but on the Red Letter...
I know. Shit, I already recorded another podcast making fun of it.
Yeah, Red Letter Media had this the joke that was like, hey, Jamie, they're giving money away at Paramount.
Oh. Yeah.
like she was, it was like a bonanza. Like, they're all throwing money at it. But that is why...
But I think she filmed hers from her house, like over Zoom.
yeah.
Probably.
She's totally in her basement. Yes. So at some point the edict became turn this pilot script into Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, they did. They clearly got all the notes. Like, well, okay, let's JJ this up initially because that's what the new Trek is all about anyway. So okay, let's make it like. This, I mean, it's all the fucking tropes of every like shitty movie that like the new Trek stuff, and there's a MacGuffin that's going to destroy the universe.
That made no sense.
To chase, and that's
I couldn't ever get how did it not make sense?
The godsend.
How did what?
The godsend what they said it was going to.
I was just gonna say, if you open it up, the energy of it would explode the universe.
Yes.
So, like, how?
But it was so
like it's a little bitty thing. Like, I don't know. Like, explain. At some point, you got to say, like, how does the energy get created out of this thing to blow up all the other energy? Like,
that goes back to the Kurtzman of it all, because it doesn't matter how. What matters is they said it was a thing that we said it's going to do that, so we don't have to explain how.
That is kind of traditional Trek. They do a lot of that. They do a lot of that sometimes.
That's what I'm saying. Kurtzman's whole thing is like, I mean,
well, I'm just saying that can't be blamed on him. Technobabble, but it is kind of funny. Like, how?
No. But listen, hear me out. It's the same. Like, how's it gonna? We said it was. That's all we have to worry about. It's the same thing with like. Yeah. Her backstory, you're looking to be redeemed, right? It's like, yeah, she's been looked to be redeemed. How? Doesn't matter. All that matters is that we said that she's looking for that. And he did the same thing with, like, in the fucking shitty Picard show. It was like, why is the galaxy a little bit more fucked up than TNG? Well, there's this Dominion War that fucked everything up. Well, you can't say Dominion War. All we have to do is say that it's a different place now. We can't say Dominion War because people that didn't watch DS9 might be confused by it. We can say... How did you seek redemption? But we can't say we have to say that she sought it out. But we can't say in season 3 or season 4 of Disco she went to the city on the edge of forever and went through a time portal and tried to do all this crazy shit that ultimately still wouldn't redeem the Space Hitler. But she's seeking redemption.
Wait.
We don't have to say anything of that. We just have to say you're seeking redemption, and that's all we do.
Can I ask a question real quick? One thing I don't understand.
And also, you were in the Hunger Games.
One thing I don't understand, the Hunger Games thing was derivative and dumb, but it was actually, that was like, at that point in the story, I'm like, I can handle a little derivative and dumb if it pays off, but it was painful.
Oof, but it did. But because fate is the sword that we do, but it's a sword too.
Why would an orchard farmer be forging a sword in the middle of the morning? Like, that didn't make any sense. Like, her dad, like,
yeah, why would I don't know. The only, like, I just watched Mirror, and I don't know if I can have ever said that really. Like, I've watched it before at some point, but it's never come up near where I need to remember it. I've just watched Mirror recently. It's all about the gruesome, vicious, like, claw to the top. So you're telling me this organization, this universe, this empire organizes some sort of let's pick some fucking child and make them fucking Hunger Games people, and it feels like it misses the point of the Hunger Games.
Well, yeah.
They weren't going to make her president; they were going to make her a celebrity, and it was all about getting everybody to notice one thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like they blew even the derivative part of it. It was misapplied.
Yeah.
Well, and it makes sense because what if the guy actually did pass the test? What if you have two people pass the test?
Yeah. Yes. Then you got to kill more people. I don't know.
Yeah. Don't take it. We just said We didn't say it was a Hunger Games. We just look. It's a Hunger Games guy. Mm-hmm. And she has that sword. She has that sword when you meet her in the Mirror Universe in Discovery. So they're like, hey, let's bring that sword back and let's throw some lines up.
That was an Easter egg. Oh, okay.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, that's a good segue to my question, which is an Easter egg related question. Why in the world do we need to shoehorn one character from a TNG episode? That's such a head scratcher. And then, like, whenever the point the story decides to be a whodunit, well, we know it's not her because we know how she dies like 40 years in the future.
We know that.
Okay.
We know, but people might not have seen.
But then why make her that character?
That's what I'm at. That's the frustration.
Because the people that have seen it know who she is. And
okay, so
Then what are we doing? Like,
you love the eggs, right?
So I have a little point to make on this regard. In my boredom and trying to find something to occupy my mind in this nightmare world, I was scrolling through the comment section of Reddit on this. And I've encountered something. I've encountered it for a couple of years now, but I've kind of left it alone or tried to be open-minded about it. But there is a type of fandom I can no longer, and it's probably age or some far removed from that initial kiss of fandom. I feel like I'm removed from what people think and say about the things they're into. Because multiple people, 90% of the people hate this movie. Star Trek fandom thinks this is the most biggest piece of garbage ever.
Yeah.
So then there's the 10% that try to defend it on Reddit, and they're probably paid bots.
Right.
But one of the things that they always say, and it's just funny to me, is it was really great to get more backstory about Rachel Griffiths. We really need that was Rachel Garrett. That was long overdue.
No, it was like,
and I'm thinking, what the fuck? She's in a scene and a half in a good episode, a really good episode of Star Trek Next Generation. Right. But she's in a scene and she's not even the second most important character in that episode.
I'll tell you what it is. It's more cynical bullshit by the producers, because it's like, okay, well, we don't want to make the fact that she was in that TNG episode an important detail to understand her. But we want to throw that Easter egg in here because that's what the fans like.
Do they?
Oh, it's Enterprise worship. It's ship worship. It's because she was a captain.
We'll throw on the Easter eggs, but the Easter eggs don't matter. It's just to remember that. And if it doesn't matter, but that way we can have our cake and eat it too. That, hey, we give it something to the fans and then the new people, because this ain't your daddy's Trek. It's going to be new and different. They don't have to worry about the Easter eggs, and they can just jump on board with the exciting action. It's like, and nobody's happy. But that's the thinking behind it. I'm like.
Yeah, I mean,
fairly certain.
I think you're right. I mean, obviously, but this is like, okay, but like even like Roger Corman didn't think more of his movies than that. Mm-hmm. But I like watching a Roger Corman movie. Like this was not even like I didn't. Like, the thing that was just constantly weird to me is it was clearly not, like, schlock. It was...
It kind of was.
It was... no. It was schlock. Let me get that out of the way. It wasn't a schlocky movie, though. There wasn't a beginning, a middle... I mean, it has, like, a story structure of, like, a TV show. But, none of the characters...
It's clearly a 2-part premiere for a Star Trek show.
Yes, none of the characters... went on, you meet like 50 fucking characters in one scene, and none of them had anything that you would remotely call like an arc. I guess Philippa Giorgio did, but like the second major character, the guy who's in all the posters, he has no arc. Like there's nothing of his, there's no stakes, there's no, I mean, other than it was just he was along for the ride.
Is he the augment guy?
Yeah.
The black guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's how you set up another character on a show. You know,
He's
you
got
don't.
Chakotay coated
Yes,
all over him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, let's give them some credit. They had a whole scene where they refrained from saying "we're not so different," you and
That's
I.
true.
But it was a "we're not so different" scene.
Barely.
And they didn't say the word. They didn't say the line.
Barely. I mean, it was riddled with so much cliches.
Look, I'm trying to find the one nice thing. I'm trying to say nice things about it.
I think one of the most appalling things about this movie, just like on a technical level, is that you have a generational talent of an action star. And you have the worst hand-to-hand combat choreography I've ever seen.
So it's like you almost saw the pixelation of where they just zoomed in on. They had wider shots of that, and then they just cropped it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
You've got fucking Michelle Yeoh, and now
Well, she's probably not like that kind of athletic. I'm sure she's not.
She's not as good as she used to. I mean, she's older now, but she can dance, speed up the film.
I guess I was thinking about, okay, so this is schlock, but it's not schlock clever enough. I was like, if I'm going to watch late age Michelle Yeoh fucking dancing for money on TV, why don't you cast her famous white villain in all of her movies, Cynthia Rothrock, who is also still alive and still somewhat athletic? You could have cast her as like a minor boss, and then I could have got like a lady chick fight, and that would have been fun. Yeah. Instead of this like goofy, loud, like CG spaghetti kind of shit. I hate it.
It was so bad.
All the design was horrible. Horrible design. The sound design was bad. The visual designs were bad.
Yes.
The character designs were bad. I was like, what?
Yeah, at the beginning when it did a zoom out thing and it was going through her weird little bar station. Mm-hmm. Did anybody else go say to themselves, "We've got movie sign"?
Yeah.
They were zooming up.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God, it is. Okay, so anyway, we all know that, and it wasn't even, I guess, supposed to be good. I don't know what it was. I guess it was supposed to be, let's see if we can get some play out of Michelle Yeoh, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, well, it was that, like I was saying before, they got the two writers that were supposed to be the showrunners.
Yeah.
They get story credits, so
yeah.
I have a feeling...
It's that screen. They just took the plot pilot and fluffed it, which is what they did for the motion picture.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure how much of the pilot that they fluffed.
Yeah, that's
because they brought in.
I think you're right.
They brought in the guy that actually wrote the script, and he's just like and who knows how many other people worked on the script. But he's just a hack procedural guy. I looked him up.
Are you saying that, like Killers of the Flower Moon, Paul Thomas Anderson may have secretly wrote this episode?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying, who knows? They didn't get anybody that great, obviously.
I think he could have done it after a colonoscopy where he was still groggy and still done a better job than this.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Yes, I know that feeling, Les, because I had that Friday. So, yes, so I know that.
I've got one coming up.
Yeah, that I don't know. You get to sleep pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I had one like 2004 when I had my appendix out.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's the prep that's worse than the aftermath. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, no. This is speaking of prep.
This movie's worse than the colonoscopy.
Yeah, there's not much more. It is just not worth. I mean, I guess in some ways, it's everything about it is sad.
Yeah.
Except for all the shit that Kurtzman's getting for this show, because tonight, even on Big Sky, what's it called? What's Twitter's for libs?
Blue
Sky, yeah. She Blue Ski. Somebody who wrote for Prodigy shit all over Alex Kurtzman for the "we need a CIA and that's why we need a Section 31" comment.
Ooh.
Oh, is that what he said about?
Yeah. He said that's why he goes. You can't have that kind of utopia without something like this, which was inherently against the fucking point that Julian came to in the fucking episode. Yeah, and I feel like this is. I feel like I want to defend right now. In 2025, my affinity for Star Trek is growing again, and I want to defend Deep Space Nine against this heresy that they created Section 31 to make it good. Right. I realize they made it, and now it exists, and this is the kind of dumb shit that's like fascist fucking bullshit that's comes from it.
Right.
Yeah, like who is this for? I mean, I think it's for teenage boys, right?
No, I think they know exactly. Everything's so data driven. And they know who. I think this is for people who watch everything on the app. And they already pay for the service.
Maybe.
And they're hoping. I think that's what
my dad. That's my dad.
That's exactly who I think it's for.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's
people that watch Sci-Fi Channel movie originals.
Yeah.
I think it's for like Yellowstone set. I think that there's
well, it's the same thing.
Do you know what they should have went for? Chinese grandmas.
Right.
You got Michelle Yeoh. You got your in with Chinese grandmas. You should have just packaged it like it was a wushu Star Trek wushu. Like,
yeah. Why don't they do that? Seems like a more of a.
But like the Yellowstone crowd, I think there is an overlap between the Yellowstone crowd. I don't know, because my ex stepdad's a MAGA shithead now, and he loved that shit. It's like, but.
Yeah. Mavis watched Yellowstone. I think all old people watch Yellowstone.
Yeah.
I mean, it created the Taylor Sheridan monster.
Right. I was thinking, I hate everything about this, but as watching it, I was like, this is awful. But like, it's like, honestly, I was watching it, I was like, it could have been worse.
How?
Believe it or not.
I don't believe that. I disagree with you on that.
Yeah, let's theorize how it could have been worse. That could be funny. I don't know. Could have had a rape.
It just felt like, it felt like one of those old TV Marvel movies or something that Corman made or something.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. It's not as fun as a Corman movie.
You go watch that old 70s Captain America movie. It sucks.
That's just it. Like you're veering. If the movie gets worse, then it gets entertaining.
Yeah,
that's the problem. That's
yeah.
Well, I think our standards are different. Like back in the day, TV movies were movies were for grown-ups before, and TV was like mostly shit.
I'm watching nothing but old television right now.
Well, the stuff that comes back.
I mean, let's not call Star Trek. I don't want to let's disabuse. It's not a sophisticated show. It really never was.
It really is not.
It's not, and it never really was.
You had a few people who wanted to elevate it in the 80s and 90s, and they got to for a minute. But it's mostly cannon fodder for advertising. TV.
Yeah. I mean, Rick Berman was a piece of shit. Gene Roddenberry was a piece of shit. Like, there's a magic to this show, and there's a theory, and it got really good. And, season 4, season 5 of TNG, season 3. I mean, that was fucking good shit.
Yeah.
And it's my trash. I grew up with it. I love it. It's in my trash wheelhouse, and it's rich.
But there's so much other the trash that doesn't stand the test of time that we don't really even remember. I don't know. But
yeah, I guess. But
there was it was a certain threshold for like what you expect from TV, and it's going to be different from what you expect from a good movie, and it's all returning back to the mean of like things. For shit. I don't know.
Television used not to be as loud as it is. It seems like the algorithm's gotten broken.
Yeah.
About loud and fast and shouty. It seems like, and I was thinking about this during, The Brutalist, a very contemplative movie. Mm-hmm. I've been New Year James is trying to watch good movies more consistently.
Sure.
And so, like Zone of Interest, that's a really contemplative movie. And so that was what I was watching around the time I watched Section 31. But and so it was jarringly fast, like cut like a music video. I said it in the acting, the scenes in it, it seems like when a music video has a scene in it. Like in the acting is that little, that acting is like bullshit and the dialogue's bullshit and it's all there to just project an image, like a vibe. Yeah, it felt like every scene felt like that. Like it was so coked up. Like it was so amphetamine ramped. and it was like a music video, but it was like, this is a movie. I know it's an action adventure movie, but you can't keep this vibe. It's vibrant. You're shaking like it's too much. And they're introducing all these fucking characters. All of them have funny fucking cartoon voices. Like all of them have 50. Like it's fucking too much.
Yeah.
And you go back and you go back and watch any Star Trek before this shit, and it was. Boom,
oh yeah.
Like, in a hallway.
Yeah.
And you see the hallway before your principals walk into the hallway. Like, like it's...
Right. Well, yeah, it's, bit bang pow. This ain't your daddy's Star Trek. Like, God damn it.
Yeah, you can't keep that energy up that much. It gets creepy. It gets annoying. It gets one note. It's like when everything's loud, nothing is loud. Like nothing pops. And it was just high octane shit. They killed two. I don't even know. They killed that fucking character. I don't even know her name. And it was like, oh, is that
the Delton from the motion picture?
Yeah. And it just kept going. It was like, okay, so
I liked that they killed characters. That's the one thing.
Okay, so that's like Suicide Squad shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's fine. That's but it's not rated R, so you're not doing.
Yeah.
You might think you're doing Suicide Squad, but you're not doing. And I mean the James Gunn Suicide Squad. Yeah. You're not doing that, and so like you're not doing anything. It was so bad. I hated it so much.
And you're right to. Yeah.
But how good, like yesterday's Enterprise was. I
rewatched that too.
It's like everything about New Trek, and I don't like that. It makes me feel like an old man. It makes me feel like a curmudgeon, and I hate that. I hate thinking like, oh, in my day, Star Trek was better. Yes. I hate being that. But this is. This isn't Kendrick Lamar. No,
the kids like the old Star Trek better than this shit too. Like it's not.
Yes. Yeah, and I can see when I see a show like Lower Decks, I can see how that's probably funny for people who like cartoon, Adult Swim, all those people that are like Adult Swim heads probably love the shit out of that show. That's probably good shit. Strange New Worlds, like, why are we doing this? Just make another Star Trek. I don't understand it. Why does it have to be why does it have to be tied up with old bullshit? I get it, but it seems like they're probably
that's the most frustrating.
Yeah,
that's the frustrating thing for me watching it.
But it seems like they're pumping out good Star Trek stories, right? The formula.
They are. That's the thing.
They're using the formula, which is what I mean. You can break up the formula, but you have to have like Discovery tried to, but you have to like have a good formula to break it out from.
Exactly. That was my thing. Discovery could have been good being a different kind of Star Trek, but the problem was they just made something that fucking sucked on its own merits of it was trying something different, but it did a really bad job at it. And the director of this movie directed the bulk of the series of Discovery.
Yes. And maybe Star Trek is a kind of story.
Yeah.
And not a lore IP. Like what people like about old Trek, good Trek, that seems to be the principles between good original series episodes, good Next Generation episodes, and good Voyager episodes seem to have like they're of the same thing. They're telling the same kind of little, kind of a little bit of space opera, a little bit of Twilight Zone,
a little bit of workplace relationships.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's what works about Lower Decks. Like I guess it's the Adult Swim crowd, but it understands what makes it good.
That Star Trek is a formula. Yeah.
Yeah, and it understands they're fuck ups but they're not really. They're all good at their jobs and they have like this kind of ideals that they do and they're it's not like Rick and Morty cynical at all.
Yes. Yeah, and when Deep Space Nine broke that mold to start telling serialized stories, like we went back and watched it. It was still you were still it was it was more space opera than Twilight Zone in those episodes.
Yeah.
But it was kind of servicing the same kind of story, and it was nice when it ended and you got like a Jake episode again. Like
right.
So that was like, yeah. I just wish that I don't know. I wish that they'd stop to make confusing people about what the good old shit was. It's like bad marketing, It's
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you get creators that don't understand.
Yeah.
They're just chasing because the JJ movies made a lot of money, so let's do something like that, but different. But really, just like that, and that's what this movie did. But also, like, well, but James Gunn's let's just Suicide Squad it too, because it's Section 31, right?
Yes. Also, it seems like there's probably in Hollywood, I don't know this for a fact, but if I looked into it, I'm going to have a theory that like regular TV, like that CBS, like the writer's room for Tracers is probably a lot of the same people that are in NCIS rooms and CSI rooms, regular television that still gets an audience. There's probably those kind of writers, and then there's probably streaming writers. There's probably a generational difference. The TV writer's probably older, whiter. And the rest of them are probably more of a hodgepodge of Gen Z and, later millennials.
Yeah.
And
they're not getting paid shit.
They're not getting paid shit. That's why you can't get the other guys.
Yeah, exactly.
The guys that have a horse sense about how to write. And this ain't talking about their race or gender or anything like that, or their youth. It's more talking about their youth. And like they didn't work up to maybe the quality that and I definitely got that sense. Thinking back on Discovery, it just seems like that was a lot of young writers who were eager, wanted to steal the spotlight, wanted to
like the two writers that were going to be the showrunners of this show. Like, they had a few episodes where I saw like, oh, these guys might have something with them, and then they disappointed me ultimately.
Yeah,
but like they had some. There's some good stuff they got there. Oh, I'm curious to see if maybe they could run this show a little bit better than whatever Discovery's did. Mm-hmm. But obviously, they don't have the bandwidth. They don't have the space to do that because they're for so many reasons.
Yeah, and so like you're not getting a lot of good TV structure. You're not getting anything, but you also don't have real movie structure in this either. Because like, but who knows what the script did? Because everybody's hagging on that Borderlands movie. That everybody was comparing this to Borderlands.
Yeah.
That this movie and Borderlands were equally the same. Did you watch what Borderlands here?
No, I did not.
Okay, yeah. Everybody said that was my Madam Web fandom. Like, I don't think we saw like people saw something like naked, trash something in Madam Web that even Borderlands couldn't get.
I think some of it's the aesthetic that Borderlands was going for, and then how
maybe. But I was going to say the credited writer on that is that Craig, the guy who does fucking like The Last of Us and did Chernobyl, one of the hottest writers in fucking Hollywood. And so I was like, and I'm sure he like renounced the script and they rewrote it to bullshit.
Because there was a lot of rewrites on that.
Eli Roth directed that, I think. Yeah.
There we got to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, and it was like a hack job problem for him.
Yeah.
I was going to think about you were talking about. I'm going to tie in how the Unforgiven, how Hollywood writes its own stories, and how and then I was thinking like, well, of course they do. Writers write their own. Hollywood's just a bunch of fucking storytellers, and storytellers tell story. Of course, that's what they're doing. Sure. But then I was thinking about. It got me just. I don't want to plummet or digress, but it makes me think because one of the things I've been kind of thinking in my head now, and it's cynical, but Neil Gaiman is scripting his comeback, and I'm interested to know what it'll be.
Oh, just out of like a sick interest. It's not like, Yeah.
No, I don't want him to win. I'm just saying that he's probably going to
he's going to have
to craft a comeback. And I'm wondering
he's already got his people telling Boris Johnson's sister to like she came out. Did you say like
I saw that she's?
I didn't mean to get him canceled.
Well, that's because that was why I was so cynical. I wasn't cynical, but why I was side-eyeing it when it first came out was because that woman was behind it,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
she was trying to take down a notable and vocal trans ally in UK, and so she's a TERF. She's a known TERF, and so I was like side-eyeing it, but then I was like, but there's a lot of stuff here that kind of feels real. I was thinking some of this feels real. The tub didn't, though, but apparently that was corroborated in the New York article.
Yeah.
Right. So it turned out like the case of a broken clock being right twice.
Yeah. And now she was like, "Oh my God, I was trying to prove the libs were hypocritical. I didn't mean to get him canceled." She was thinking that they would rise to his defense and then they would get a hypocrites, something in their hypocrites quiver.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They didn't work out that way. He's really canceled, and I knew
he's a monster.
Yeah. There you go. And so, it is funny that it didn't even occur to her that it was that bad. And so it was just like the Cormac McCarthy thing. But
oh God.
Where the publisher of the story didn't seem to think it was that bad.
Yeah.
What you were writing, but yes. So all of this is, I'm just every day it's becoming my Roman Empire. I think a little bit more about how Neil Gaiman's going to come back, just from a cynical writer's perspective, because I know it's occupying his full time.
Right.
And I assume he has a manager that he's in the bunker with, but I also think he's probably sipping tea and sitting contemplative in a room while drinking and typing out something on his fucking, on his little fucking laptop.
Yeah.
So I know it's something. I know it's like not a novel. I mean, he'll give a big interview somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how he will paint himself. Will he be changed? Did he go to sex anonymous? Whatever. Is he addicted to sex? Does he need to go to sex rehab?
Right.
Like he's got to come back with some sort of story. I'm thinking of it like a Shonda Rhimes thing. Like what's how they gonna come back? He's got to come back
talking about how he was abused as a child in Scientology and blow the lid off that story that he's never told before.
Oh, he's got that in his back pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're really they're not at their strength right now, Scientology.
No.
So I think
but at the same time, all these canceled people, like I play the game, we're like, okay, if you want to come back from this is what you got to do.
Yeah.
And they never can do it.
Louis did.
Kind of.
I mean, yeah. But he played to the chuds. That's how he did it. But like if you want to get like if Aziz
that guy's been disappeared.
No, he's popping up. He's posting more and more of his stand up on TikTok.
That's not.
But like came out. He got that Netflix. He did a Netflix apology special.
Yeah.
And all he needed to do was like actually be sincere, because like it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as like Louis or a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, I agree.
He's like, oh man,
there's degrees to this thing.
Yeah, and if he had come back like, man,
Diddy's not coming back. I mean,
Diddy's not coming back. But if his part of his apology special was an actual apology instead of saying, but it got blown out of control. If he was actually, but none of them can actually show any contrition about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what.
Well, you don't want to comment. Well, you play that rule. You don't want to comment.
No, but like even when they do comment and this is my apology tour, they can't
actually apologize.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Let's see. Shane Gillis was canceled, and he's like the biggest thing. He's like the biggest stand-up right now.
He's definitely bigger than Aziz.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I mean.
The only one that really did it was Harmon, and he did an actual apology.
Yeah, but no, there's been a lot more. I mean, I think Louis is probably making more money on his tours now than he's ever has.
Yeah.
But he's not a darling of Hollywood. He does a lot.
Morgan Waller came back from the N-word.
Well, a lot of doors are shut, but like it depends on what market you play to, and like
that's the key.
Yeah, exactly.
And Neil Gaiman knows that, but he can't he can't go chud. There's
He
no
can't switch markets.
No, there's no lane for him going chud. Right now, the guys from the Young Turks, they're the YouTube news fuckers, are trying to go because they basically the left has completely abandoned them. So they're trying to find an audience going right wing right now, and it's not going to work, dude. You're Turkish, you're a Muslim. I mean, none of this is going to work. But also, you're like, we have 15 years of you. The only people who know you as like, if they like you because you're a lib. And I don't know what the fuck you're trying to do here. And, and I think that would be the same with Neil Gaiman if he tried to join, let's say he's seen out in a public somewhere with, no, because that bitch is never in public.
Gina Carano.
No, the woman at fucking, what's her name? J.K. Rowling. If he was seen out in public with J.K. Rowling, that would be like an attempt to try and get in with be like chased, like the left abandoned me kind of thing. Just because of some lying bitches. I guess that would be one avenue for him, but that would not work. That won't get him published.
That would not work because all she is a turf now.
That's what I mean. Go angle for British right wing.
So he would have to become a turf, basically, right? And that's gonna be hard.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would be an avenue. That would be like what? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it's such a drastically different market.
That's playing to a different market.
Pivot, and he's too big on one side of the lever.
You don't think he wants to sell amulets to keep away evil spirits?
Yes, yeah.
He's gonna get baptized.
Yeah,
by,
he
can't get from somebody who knows the Sandman personally.
Yeah, yeah. You can't go.
He's gonna be talking about his demons with.
He can't get saved. He can't because he's too smart. He can't be, and so he's gonna have to make he's either gonna have to become a difficult man,
I think that's probably what he's going to be.
Because
he's still rich.
Yeah, so he's
at the age where most artists start to decline one way or another either way. So
he's gonna have to give combative, I think, and be combative without the politics, and and just that way, and maybe say some stuff, and then I don't know, I think he could pull it off, but it would have to be becoming like a Norman Mailer curmudgeon, and but I don't think that, or he's gonna have to just be contrite.
Listen, a lot of his stuff was pretty mid, as the kids say anyway.
But no. He is a huge thing to a lot of people. So
okay, that's not my point. I'm talking about quality of work.
Yeah.
I'm talking about quality of work and age. So, even if this didn't happen to him, it's not like he had a lot of, he was running a TV show. So it's not like he has a lot. He was more of a brand than
he was a brand. I'll give you that. Yes. He was more of a brand at this point.
Than an active artist. So
because this ain't going to affect Coraline sales, Coraline merch sales. So I don't think, so that's going to, and that's getting into Nightmare Before Christmas degrees of permanent in society, like Coraline merch.
Yeah, people. Yeah, there's a certain type of kid that will discover that every year. Somebody's always turning 9.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Right.
And so he's got to be making money off that. I think his books will continue to sell. I don't know if he'll write new books, but I do think that he's. I don't know. I do think that he's thinking about it. That's what I think. And I'm interested in that, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what he's going to try and do. But you want to talk... Well, let's talk about a good movie.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, well, I really... You guys watched it, and I really don't know what your reactions are. So this is a live... Because I haven't shut up about it for 4 months. But so
right.
What did you guys think of it? I know that you had mostly positive.
Oh no! I thought it was really great. It's my kind of story. It's some of my favorite people, Northern Irish people, Irish people, my favorite whites. I guess, which is very tribalist. It's my whiteness, but
fair.
yeah, they are but it's really great in that way. And then it's like it's just a fun sort of like a story about a rebellious underclass, like a people that view their mission properly. Like, it is a very
they really do. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and so it was nice to see that kind of story and get that kind of like uplift, and the music was really cool. Like, it's the real people. Like, it's really these guys,
Yeah.
Especially the DJ who's got a real role. Like, he's got a
right. The other guys.
Actually, I thought that was an actor. Like, I was like, oh,
so did I. Yeah. I had to look it up.
Yeah, he's actually DJ Prove.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's that. I liked it a lot.
I did too.
You did too.
But
Wade.
like, I mean, yeah. I'm, I don't know if it like blew me away as much as it did you, but I liked everything about it. Like, there was nothing that made me mad about it. Then and I was like, I had to look it up afterwards. Like, come on, the DJ. He's an actor, right? Because they got the two guys, and they're good too.
Yeah, they are.
But then it's like, oh, I'm curious about, because obviously they are an actual, rappers. They actually put out music. The story's not true. It's like a fictionalized version,
right?
Yeah, I was gonna say there is not a Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
No, that's my favorite. That's my favorite thing about the movie. That's what.
Yes.
Like, yeah. That's my favorite.
And my favorite line in the fucking movie is because the first thing I ever saw Michael Fassbender in was the fucking everybody did Inglourious Bastards. But the second thing I saw him in was a movie called Hunger, where he played Bobby Sands, the IRA rebel who was trapped and they went on a hunger strike and all this stuff. And that was a fucking amazing movie. You should see that. It's called Hunger. It's fucking amazing. But Michael Fassbender plays Bobby Sands, and he has that line, what do you call a prove? What do you call a prove who does yoga? Bobby Sandals?
Yeah.
That was like the funniest line of the movie.
Yeah.
It's but that was like the dad. Yeah, I love Michael Fassbender in it. Like, and
no, so that it actually this is the self mythologizing of it is kind of what I wanted to unpack. Because that's
okay.
Like how untrue. That's why I've been dying to talk about. It's because I think that I don't know. It's like Dylan and the White Stripes kind of did this.
Yeah.
Where they just have their own lure, to like augment the power of their music, and the fact that these guys did this in such a fun way.
Yeah.
Without even being, because the movie is so outrageous, and so not only is it outrageous, but it's so well structured.
Yeah,
like true stories just don't have that kind of like really good structure.
Yeah, we're all three. Tight. Yeah, we're the cop who arrested you is the whatever mother. Or
right.
aunt.
Even when they are based on true stories, they change that shit around to where
yeah.
All the bad guys get kneecapped. Like, life isn't that poetic.
Yeah. There was a certain point when I was sitting in the theater, I'm like, oh, that's what this is. Like, where it dawned on me, like, oh, that's what's going on. And that's what blew me away so much about it. Other than that, I was like having a really good time. That's the like most fun I'd had going to a movie in 2024.
Yeah,
maybe all year. Like, I can't remember a more fun movie.
It was a bad year.
I mean, it was.
I forgot
fun.
that you saw it in the theater too. That'd be a different experience.
Yeah, no, I really like. I just really like them. I like the concept of like language as like out of spite. That there is this sort of, that it is a fight that's, it's very loud, it's very loud, it's very real. And they brought that out in its realness. It showed it's a political movie.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
They're
okay.
Yeah.
It is not, that's another thing I was astounded. Like, yes, they're doing, the politics is never secondary. It's always, it's always up front. Yeah.
And it's really, like, I think in a way that is very, well, I guess there's no way to talk about it other than just talking about it as a left-wing piece of propaganda. Like, about, like, how there is these schisms on, there's two different types. There's the drug dealers and the are the radical Republicans against drugs. So their main villain are also radical Republicans, but who are just being like scolds.
Right.
And so I think there's a lot of all of that was interesting, but then it all comes down to the power of language and why you would do something so silly. Why would and what it sort of explained like radical protests, like why you do something to work against it. You show how it brings unity to the people that you're trying to speak to. And so even though obviously these guys are imperfect messengers of a political message,
right,
which was the wife's point, the DJ Purvey's girlfriend's point, but like that's what you get, and this is how these kinds of things, you do it through entertainment, you do it through building culture and not like
building
being
pedantic and preaching.
Yes, you do it through building culture, you do it through throwing fucking parties, you do it through getting the people interested in what you're fucking about, and being and it was in that, I guess, that as like Belfast serves as that sort of like it's sort of a stand-in for all political cultures. They're trying to sort of, it's whatever. There's fucking ICE raids everywhere right now. Like we can't pretend like there's not something about this that can speak to other people. And the fact that it's this really loud, very real, very like interesting hip hop. That's just really aggressive hip hop. It also had a cultural moment last week. Big Kneecap did, because Shane Gillis was on the Joe Rogan podcast. I hate that I have to talk about this because it was a big thing. Because these millions of fucking horrible fucking men who are in control of the country see these kinds of things.
Right.
That they're listening to Kneecap. And, the first thing I say is, we're radical Republican right band or whatever. And then it goes into it, and Joe Rogan in his dumbheadedness, he's Joe, lovable Joe. He's like, Republicans. and then Shane Gillis had to sort of explain it to him. So you can see how this little agitprop got onto like, fucking Meathead Radio and came out. So these things, and gets the growth of it. So it's a little taste, like, of all these people bitching about how do you build left-wing unity culture. There you go, baby.
They crack.
This is sort of a movie about how to do that and why you do it.
Right.
And you build yourself like heroes. There's like, the Michael Fassbender works as like this like Superman throughout it's a name that sort of works as a shield for the character through a lot of the movie.
It was a movie about the power of art without seeming like it had its head up its ass.
Yes, like it was and
which is hard to do.
Yes. And the worst form of like a movie like The Brutalist, what I was afraid it was going to do was something like that. That's not the story of The Brutalist, but it is like, I was afraid it would be something about like, about sort of a story about like up its ass story about the power of art, instead of this like, this is how culture is made. This is ground roots. Like, who are we talking to? Everybody goes to fucking art school and they turn into fucking Marxists, and then they also to become like little careerist bitches. And so then they go and they work for and they write their little stories for these companies, and they never really get out. Like, and I think that was kind of cool, was there was that moment in the story where they were going to get on the radio, and they made this big tape, and it's a big point that's sort of the center of the movie, is they have to rush to get this, remake this stuff to get on the radio, and it doesn't get on the radio, which then becomes a rallying cry. But like, if they had gotten on the radio and gotten big through that way, like they would have been somehow they would be stifled by it. It was only through rebellion and mass movement did they actually break through. Right. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Those little boys can act. I like the
I
like the mom too. I thought she was really good.
She was great.
I think she's in Ken Loach movies, who makes these kinds of Irish movies. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, watch Hunger. That's a really fucking good movie. Steve McQueen's not made anything really like super great. That does have a 16-minute long one-take shot scene between a beautiful scene between Michael Fassbender and the Sir Davos from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and
The Onion.
yeah, and they basically outlaw how it basically works as how you see how the church worked as a safe house for the IRA.
Oh yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, it's really interesting how like they worked, and that was when I realized that like, in order for a left wing movement to have any sort of sustainability, they have to have some cultural pillar to stay under.
Yeah.
Like they can't. You're not going to build a left wing movement in Nebraska. You know, you might could get some wins, you might shift some opinions, but you're not going to really like when the shit hits the fan. You know, you're not really going to, because you don't have any cultural institutions there that will protect you.
Right.
Like the IRA had the church, and that was a really powerful thing for them. The IRA in general is just a helpful movement of like how like it's just study the IRA. I mean, they were pretty, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying up the raw or anything, but you know, up the fucking raw, you know, like so yeah.
And that's how James got on a government watch list.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, you're gonna get us on a list.
No, Ireland isn't a country. Ireland belongs to England. No, I'm just kidding. That's why I've been like everybody on all the funny leftists were when they went to Red Note when TikTok shut down for a half a minute. They all went to Red Note and posted, "I'm just here to say to suck up for fans by saying Taiwan is not a country." Which apparently Trump doesn't want to see that either, because by putting tariffs on them, good God, what the fuck? They're an ally.
Yeah. No,
they're a political They're a military protector of ours, man. What are you doing?
yeah. I mean, it's just like he just sees it as like a thing to give to his buddy G, and then they'll pay nice with this. It's like he doesn't give a shit about Taiwan. Let's give it to China, and then
God,
maybe
China is eating our fucking lunch, man. China is.
Oh God, yeah.
They are so on the ascendancy. They're about to become the Kansas City Chiefs. But yeah,
go Birds.
Go Birds. I don't know. I'm kind of disillusioned about America in the race this year. I don't know.
What? I don't know what about current events would make you disillusioned, James.
Maybe
everything's going great.
Maybe we don't deserve to make the playoffs this year. But yeah, no. So I've been watching that, and I liked Kneecap, and I really liked anything that takes my mind off this shit, man.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Kneecap was a salve.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. What have y'all been doing? Yeah, I'm interested. What are y'all's copes? I'm looking for tips.
I mean, I don't have really. I mean, I'm not super online, so I think that helps.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying not to be.
Yeah. I don't know. With copes?
Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea. No, I'm just falling apart. No.
Oh yeah. It's hard.
No, man, I'm okay.
I have the house to myself again. I think that's nice. Or I will soon.
Oh yeah.
Next week. So I'm thinking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love my wife, and I love her in the house. But you know, I was used to I was accustomed to a certain amount of alone time.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I've been Star Trek's been working. That's been fun.
Yeah.
But like, what do y'all do if you're not online? What are you doing? Just watching TV? Like, what are you doing? Reading?
I mean, yeah. Like, I'm not watching TV. I'm either working on comics or taking care of the household in one way or the other, or reading books. I do. I guess I do read a lot. I read a lot of comics and I read a lot of books, and I watch movies. You know, I check out movies from the library. I use the public library a lot. You know, it's an institution that I believe in. So
yeah.
You know, I try to utilize as much as possible.
Yeah.
I like the library.
Yeah, libraries are great.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to the library once a week, but it's just yeah, I mean, I don't have time to do much of it. Like, so I mean, I'm busy doing house stuff or pretending to do work stuff or going to the office, and then I mean, finally, fiddling with writing stuff, but it's just like tinkering with the same, like,
yeah.
If I find the time to get like a rough draft out, then I'm just tinkering with the same, section for like 3 months now. So
yeah, a lot of my January doldrums I've actually figured out have been tied directly to, like to my work. So to the comic work. So the fact that once I figured that out and I'm able to like kind of like deal with that's a different manageable problem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love I haven't had the bandwidth to do any of that for fucking years now. So I mean, it's not. I don't know. Think anything's that great or anything, but it's just like something to fiddle with.
I'm finding that it's hard for me to insulate from a lot of these feelings and like of right now.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get out. I mean, I get out. I'm still doing my trail run.
Yeah, I've been working. I've been going back to the gym this week. That helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna like stop recording.
Yeah. I'm not gonna use. Sorry.
Ich bin so verletzt, har you seen shot and it's for sure,